Twin Peaks. You know it's time to get the lab coat on. Twin Peaks. Yeah. Cause we out here being hella wrong. Twin Peaks. And you know we're never stopping till the hammer drop.
I'm dreaming of a world without cash, borders, or states. Abolish all thresholds. You know what I'm saying?
Abolish all glass ceilings.
Abolish all ceilings, regardless of their material. Like, why should we stop at glass?
Why we have the beautiful night sky above us. Why would we want to deny ourselves from looking at it, you know?
That's so true. But also rich coming from you, considering that you can see it almost every night, except when there's fires burning outside your house.
Yeah, I'm stuck. The Fire Nation has attacked and is keeping me inside my home at this point, but that's okay.
I'm in danger!
Brutal.
Welcome back to Beak, where we keep you informed and compliant with techno capital and the ongoings of the scientific community. What do we have today, Dispel?
We've got a lovely article on IQ, our favorite subject on the show. As right-wing radicals who love talking about IQ, we've got an article called Large and Fast Human Pyramidal Neurons Associate with Intelligence. Now, I thought you summarized this relatively well. Would you mind giving us your summary?
Oh, yeah, I thought this is, pretty common sense when you think about it. If you know anything about how neurons work and how action potentials work, which I'm going to pop up on the screen real quick, a little infographic I have here.
Hold on, you used a term that I thought was appropriate.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut around this.
No, you don't have to cut around this. It started with a G, and it's not, G score for IQ. It was girthy neurons. Yeah,
girthy neurons.
IQ is what we've got today.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty common sense. The girthier your neurons are, the better they are to make an action potential jump across them faster, therefore giving you infinite access to all the electrical signals in your brain, making you a genius.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, you're right. It is intuitive. Thicker neurons are going to probably transduce current a little bit faster, and that's because the resistance going through a wire drops as the cross-sectional area of the wire increases.
Yeah. And I've got this image up on the screen just for those who don't understand basic like neuron physiology and all that. And it shows here the difference between a myelinated axon and an unmyelinated axon, which is just like a fat sheath that goes around the neuron. But the dendrites that are coming off of the neuron cell body are where the action potential occurs, which is the sodium and potassium channels opening and closing to cause a change in a charge to travel down the neuron and transfer information from one neuron to another, and that's how you get thoughts and everything that goes on inside your brain as far as electrical activity is concerned.
Correct, but we need to be careful. It's not how information is transferred from one neuron to the next, it's how information is transferred within a single neuron. So the Na-gated voltage potential channels open up, they let sodium inside. Once enough sodium comes inside, you get a depolarization where these potassium channels also open up, they start to leave the cell, and that's when you get the full action potential that rises and then falls back down.
Correct, and then eventually once you get to the end of the dendrite is where it jumps to another neuron.
Yes, and so that's not through chemical transmission, that's not through
that's through neurotransmitters being released.
Correct, that's right, and that's something that we should keep in mind as we go through this article, because they're testing pretty much exclusively within a neuron. Alrighty, the abstract.
You want to read it?
Generally assumed, yeah, I'll read it. Okay. The abstract. It is generally assumed that human intelligence relies on efficient processing by neurons in our brain. Although gray matter thickness and activity of temporal and frontal cortical areas correlate with IQ scores, no direct evidence exists that links structural and physiological properties of neurons to human intelligence. Here, we find that high IQ scores and large temporal thickness associate with larger, more complex dendrites of human pyramidal neurons. We show in silico that larger dendritic trees enable pyramidal neurons to track activity of synaptic inputs with higher temporal precision due to fast action potential kinetics. Indeed, we find that human pyramidal neurons of individuals with higher IQ scores sustain fast action potential kinetics during repeated firing. These findings provide the first evidence of human intelligence which is associated with neuronal complexity, action potential kinetics, and efficient information transfer from inputs to outputs within cortical neurons. So a little bit of a misnomer to say information transfer from inputs to outputs within cortical neurons, because within a cortical neuron, what they recorded was exclusively the output. I guess I don't know. Like the input and the output are exactly the same in what they tested.
Yeah, I mean, they
'Cause
basically just found that those people that had the girthy, the thick neurons were able to correlate with higher IQ score. How you want to think about what occurs in the brain biochemically to make that happen, that's up to you to decide.
it is, which is sort of the glorious thing. I think I will say, so let's get a little primer, another primer on action potential, because it feels to me like the authors, who are evil because they're from the UK and Belgium and Netherlands, sort of, I mean, they certainly simplify the structure of signal transduction in the cortical membrane, because the complexity of dendrites and human pyramidal neurons does give it this higher surface area, but that higher surface area allows it to integrate with another neuron more, or integrate with other neurons that are also firing it. So there are essentially two factors which determine action potential with a synapse. One, the number of neurons which are inducing this next neuron to fire, and then two, the strength or the frequency of these synaptic transmissions.
Yeah, and do you want to talk about what they used for their methods, what they were actually looking at in this study?
Yes, I do. I certainly do. Um, I do, but do you want to talk about IQ first?
Do you want to talk about IQ first?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people misconstrue what IQ represents, and they put too much meaning into IQ. And that's not to say that it's a useless metric, but rather that we should be precise about what it actually does. Have you ever taken an IQ test?
Yeah, years and years and years ago, pre-college years, so it probably wouldn't be relevant to the place I'm at now.
Yeah, correct. So I mean, you can the fact that you can train for IQ tests sort of undermines the idea that it's just going to test your cognitive abilities. It tests your cognitive abilities for a couple of domains. One, it's your ability to like rotate objects in your minds. Like some people cannot, or I guess say they can't rotate an object in their minds, which I don't quite believe. But if you can't do that, you've got lower IQ, apparently.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
there's other things that go into IQ and testing it, and why I don't think it's really a good metric to use to judge people on. And a lot of it goes into what your access to education is, because if you don't have access to education, obviously your ability to get through a lot of this is going to be diminished. Even if some of it is common sense things, like there is an aspect to knowing basic maths and basic language skills that is required in order to succeed on these exams.
yeah, and what Smugbug and I would consider mentis. That's really sort of the valuable piece of intelligence in the modern day, probably. But we'll discuss what mentis is another day. So IQ, it tests your ability to rotate objects in your mind. Diction, vocabulary, you're absolutely correct. That's dependent on education, which you read. It tests your ability to memorize a tiled pattern. your ability to reason the spatial distribution between objects. It also tests word scramble, which is something that I'm god awful at. I hate word scramble. And I'm not even like dyslexic at all. Maybe I am. Maybe like lightly dyslexic.
You're what?
Dyslexic. And then also matrix reasoning, which is that just bullshit like sign pattern, like predict what the last one is gonna be.
Is that like matrix reasoning if you can figure out that you're in a simulation and take the correct pill?
Yeah. Or well, like I guess like
I would
the
ace
real
that
like
game.
yeah, you would. Like the high IQ and the low IQ, like people would eat both of the pills at the same time. The mid would only choose one.
Hell yeah, bro. Let's
And this was an
let's
interesting
Molly
thing
flip. Let's see what we can do with the red pill and the blue. Let's take a purple pill, baby. Come on, let's see.
Yeah, mix the shit together. Hell yeah. You're like the actual Matrix of the Matrix movie is the false dichotomy of having to choose between one of two pills. And then this is something that I learned actually from this article. Reaction speed actually correlates relatively well with IQ, which sort of makes sense why all the sweaty, disgusting gamer soy
Oh, well, that's
boys are
cool.
obsessed.
I have extremely good reaction speed. So what you're telling me is I'm a genius.
What I'm telling you is that what the article is also saying is that the physiological constructs, like it is probably a better measure for the physiological constructs which make intelligence than all of the other stuff which is trained. Like, I don't know if you can train reaction speed. Like, you can train targeting for like games and such.
I mean, they've shown that gamers and people that have been playing games for a long time have better like ability to pick out small objects in their field of view that enter quickly, which can come into play in real life when driving at night. You want to be able to pick up things that come into your field of view much quicker and have the reactive speed to hit the brakes and not hit that fucking deer that's in the road.
Yeah, because if you fail, that's sort of a self-selecting, like you're already lower IQ. By,
Game
like,
over.
Yeah, sadly, it's over. Like, you may as well just give up there. Like, if you get into a car crash, you take like a punch to the skull. Yeah, you're not recovering.
Gamers are gonna end up being the top class just because of natural selection. Over time, all of the non-gamers will drive into deer and take themselves out of the pool.
Yeah. What IQ does not test for are relatively hard things to test, but I would say probably more important than all the other stuff, except reaction speed and diction, I guess. IQ does not test social intelligence, and it also does not test creativity. I know, surprise!
The autists are slipping in under the fucking cracks. Oh, look at me with my high IQ. Yeah, but can you even look somebody in the eyes? Can you talk to somebody about something that's not technical for more than 5 minutes? Fuck off.
Bro, it's like George Bush, watch this drive, motherfucker, was more successful than your ass. Like, you can't even like breach fucking diamond in League of Legends or whatever. But I would say, yeah, in the modern context, social, like they made a whole nother fucking category for emotional intelligence or social intelligence called EQ, and that's probably a better predictor for success over life in the modern day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what your metric of success looks like. I would say monetary success is not the same thing that I would call success for myself.
Money, it's money. How
much wealth do you have? How many resources can you acquire?
Wait, Salty, can you sing the song with me? We might get copyright struck, but it's like only 5 seconds. I don't like money. I don't even like it. I just want to throw it away.
I don't think I know that song.
Isn't it an awesome song?
It's okay.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the actual paper. What did they measure? Well, a couple of things.
They measured those girthy neurons, bro. They said, whip them out. Let me see your neurons. Everybody stand up in a line. We're all going to see who has the biggest neurons here.
But can we... Yeah. Hold on. Let's touch reality for a second. Where did they get these neurons that they studied from?
From tumor-infested brains.
Not just tumor-infested brains.
Oh, that's what I saw. I saw that they extracted portions of the frontal and temporal lobes from patients who were already going in for tumors in their brains being removed.
Correct, but also from epileptic patients.
Ah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, the problem with like experimental questions and IQ is that it's very challenging to ethically justify manipulating people's brains in order to and also preserve the brain in such a way that you can measure the outcomes like IQ.
Wait, I thought that we could just like take prisoners and crack their skulls open and start poking wires around like Elon does with them their monkeys.
Yeah, with monkeys, yeah, they did. I do remember them getting a little bit of trouble with the wokey Biden administration with their Neuralink
Yeah,
shit.
whatever happened with
But
that? Did they kill too many monkeys and it's not coming back now?
well, I think collectively as a nation we decided actually it's not that big of a problem.
We've got bigger issues, honestly.
In all honesty, yeah, we do.
I mean,
And
I'm
that's
the
not to
animal
say
rights
like,
guy. I really care about the animals, but we got other things to do right now.
yeah, for real. But not in the scope of this paper. So they used those sections that they surgically extracted during the procedure. They did histology, they did MRI, they did EEG scanning before the operation, and they were like, yeah, okay, this is a normal section of the brain that we're taking out. We're also going to take out the tumor or whatever epileptic region is causing them that. So the region that they're studying with real neurons, they're saying it's normal. We kind of have to buy it, yeah.
Yeah, it's not tumor infested. It's normal tissue that can be trusted.
Yeah, but then what they did is then, based on the histology, they simulated the hypothesis that variation in pyramidal neuron morphology is associated with action potential speeds and explains the variation in IQ
You want to break that
amongst
down a little
subjects in
bit?
the study. We're going to over the course of the study.
Okay.
So that's essentially like it's a simulation. I don't know what you want me to say.
I mean, when it
I
comes
love
to cracking skulls, sometimes you gotta simulate that shit.
I love basing assumptions about reality on simulations. It's probably one of my like favorite things in the world because we can talk about those simulations
The
and
clankers are
generate
gonna teach
new
us everything about the natural world that we never thought we could do.
correct, absolutely correct. Yeah. Um just uh just take its advice when it asks you to like reality test your simulation or whatever like whatever simulacra are derived from your simulation and discussion with humanity. But we don't want to talk about, the logistics and distribution of educational attainment in IQ. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. The first thing that they wanted to do was confirm essentially the body of literature that they found. So I'm going to ask you to go to figure 2D. Yes, this one right here. So they've got on the x-axis IQ score, and they've got cortical thickness on the y-axis. And basically, they just wanted to say, okay, in the sample of our diseased patients, which we extracted nominally normal tissue, can we replicate the findings from other fields of research, which says that we've got an association between cortical thickness and IQ? And yes, with some caveats, they've got a correlation score of 0.36, which means that a score of 1.0 would mean that whatever the association, like the magnitude of association between IQ and cortical thickness, like the slope of the line, all the data points would fit exactly to that line.
Yeah.
But this is real life. We've got a distribution of points, and we've got a lower distribution of points at the extremes of IQ, the 130 and the 60, and this is by design. So their association is about 0.36, which is fine. It replicates the findings. Their p-value is a little low, but we need to be honest about what p-value represents. P-value doesn't mean something is true. P-value means that if you ran this experiment 1,000 times, what are the odds that you find this distribution of data? So there's about a 3.3% chance that you find this distribution of data, you find this association, which is fine. It's okay.
Yeah, and this is just saying that generally across a population, like just because you have larger, thicker dendrites does not necessarily mean that you're going to have a higher IQ score. It's just that that is the general what's the word I'm looking here for?
If there were a one-to-one association between these two variables, we would have a score of 1. But a score of about 36 means that we can attribute about 36 to the other.
But that's still pretty good.
About 36. Yeah, it does exactly what they wanted to do, to replicate the findings in the field.
Yeah.
And it's actually, they find better associations down the line in the study. So we're gonna go to figure 3 next. More scatter plots.
My way. I'm there. I'm at figure 3.
So, what do we got here? Figure A, no mention of IQ. Figure B, we got IQ. Figure C, IQ. Figure D, we got IQ. So what do they find? They wanted to associate IQ with specifically the neuronal dendrites. So this figure A, they're trying to figure out whether or not the neuronic dendrites associates with cortical thickness. It kind of does. Fine, it's all right. Figure B. Very low correlation. We've got a correlation of 0.18. And the authors say, well, this indicates that the samples that we collected from our patients is relatively the same. So that's a good thing. Also a very high p-value.
Yeah, and B is also measuring the relative cortical depth instead of the length.
Yes. So these neurons in the cortex will integrate signals from deeper, lower layers, more reptile-like layers of the brain, and the human imagination to create fire supposedly is generated in these higher order neurons, which are able to integrate these signals coming from below. And then in C and D, this is where we find these higher associations, this more accurate association for IQ. The total length of the dendrites, as well as the number of branching points, are a much better predictor for IQ than cortical thickness.
So you want complex, long dendrites, not necessarily thickness.
Yes. But length... length is a little like sort of an iffy thing. But you can see there are a number of people who have like high variation within the points. Now, something that I will say is they took the mean of all the neurons that they gathered from the patients, which is sort of like an underhanded way that a lot of like GDP heads will use to say that life is okay. Like, you're going to have more people falling below like a relative poverty line if you use median. And I'm curious whether or not they'd be able to replicate the association with median rather than mean. Essentially, you grab a bunch of neurons, and if there's a skew towards one side, the mean might be better for publishing the information. But it doesn't sort of degrade the value of the information of this paper.
You're asking them to go and scrape more fucking tumor neurons out, Dispel? You want them to do
I got
this again?
questions.
Oh my god.
I got questions. I want to know what's going on. So, interestingly, there's a lower p-value for the dendritic length than there is for the number of branch points. Which means there's probably more going on in the number of branch points, and that's because, yeah, your brain is a complicated organ, integrating multiple signals from multiple neurons at multiple, like, time points.
So how is the right wing going to use this information against us?
I think they're too stupid to understand what this means. In any fidelity to the truth, how could they weaponize this? I mean, what they would probably weaponize this by saying is that, well, we can measure people's, like, dendritic complexity at age, like, 18, and whether or not they meet a specific threshold will determine, like, you know, like the Brave
There
New
you go.
World
Yeah,
type
it's
reality.
like it's the new skull measuring, except you're measuring what's inside the skull.
Yeah, we just need to take like a little portion of your brain instead of like giving you an exam.
We don't even have to spend the first fucking 10 years educating you and figuring out if you're capable of learning things. We'll just look at your dendrites, and if they're not girthy and lengthy and complex enough, we'll just throw you off a cliff.
Honestly, yeah. That's probably how the right wing would do it. And in all honesty, like, I think that would actually be their wet dream. Like, you know, oh, this is the high capital humans, you know. IQ is like such a awesome metric. We're gonna use it to determine whether or not somebody lives or dies. Awesome, great. I love the right wing. They're so cool. It is cool just how like blatantly evil you can be nowadays.
I mean, I just assume any information is going to be used to exclude somebody and try to grab power.
Yeah. So the real clucks.
The real clock.
Holy pigeon bread. The real crux of the article that they're trying to answer is within the anatomy of an individual cortical neuron, it's integrating all these signals from all the sources, and their belief is that neurons from people with high IQ are able to encode information from essentially lower layers of the brain better with higher fidelity.
Nice.
So they start this with a little bit of a weighted sort of theory, I guess. So we're in the next section.
They're hedging
Larger
their bets.
dendrites. With the simulation, yeah, they're sort of hedging their bets. I mean, like, they're doing what they can't do, like, with ethical liberal standards today, hindering human progress yet again. Anyways, next section. Larger dendrites tend to faster action potential onset and improved encoding properties. So this is the big sort of like semantically weighted encoding property. Like going from biology to encoding property to IQ to success as a human being. A lot of leaps of logic that are tough. But there are like physiological things here that we can learn about the human that we're going to disentangle for you. So their idea is that neurons from high IQ individuals are able to more accurately grab the information from the neurons nearby them.
More
So this
accurately
doesn't
or
mean
quicker?
Quicker, but quicker also means more accurately in this context, because they're saying if you send a bunch of signals at a neuron, it goes over the synapse, binds to the neuron binding site then induces depolarization, right? A lot of leaps that are not included in this article. That neuron should be able to then fire quicker so that it could then be ready to receive more signals. That's the idea. And their idea is that lower IQ individuals have a lower susceptibility. Like, they're going to miss more beats. Essentially, they're going to be like
They have less
two left
potential.
feet on the dance floor.
Less potential.
Well, it's like there's information getting lost, is the theory. But how well that theory translates to biology is so tough. Because you could say, like, somebody with ADHD has a lot of, like, lower layer information going on and just have a harder time consciously choosing what that information is going to look like on a consciousness level and on a neurochemical level, like a functional connectivity level. But they don't associate that at all. This is just if a neuron is going to be activated, how fast can it do that activation before it's ready for a new signal?
Yeah.
And if a neuron is not ready for a new signal, it's probably from somebody who is lower IQ.
Okay.
And so first they started with the pipe model of neurons, comparing neurons from rodents and humans. Neurons from rodents tend to be smaller with fewer connections, and so they reason, okay, we probably see
Oh, this is a perfect
greater...
time. This is a perfect time to bring my other image up for us.
Oh.
It's the image that I showed you earlier, and you can see it here on screen now. Let's see.
Seeing?
All right.
I am a bird. I do have very good vision and very good hearing.
Relative brain size, percent of body mass. This is brought to us by, what is this website? Flowingdata.com. But the thing that I thought was interesting here is that it shows, 0.1% for the elephant percent of body mass compared to their brain. And then you got like chimpanzees are down here. They're like 0.8 of their body mass is their brain. And then you got humans at 2% of their body mass is their brain. But then marmosets, 2.7% of their body mass is their brain. Are you kidding me? What are these geniuses doing out there?
They've got secret marmoset languages. But I mean, like,
Bro.
elephants are really smart.
Yeah.
So, like, because for a while, we've been doing these cranial bullshit eugenics shits, trying to figure out what's the driver of intelligence so that we can biohack it. And people were like, okay, it's got to be like the size of the brain relative to the body mass. And then it was like, oh, it's got to be the number of wrinkles in the brain relative to the body mass.
Oh,
And
it's the density of the gray matter.
It's the density of the gray matter. Oh, well, now we're at, actually, it's the thickness of the cortical layer. And that might be true.
I just thought that was interesting that marmosets are actually geniuses.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Take a look at the genome of like a lettuce, and it's like 2 times bigger than the human genome. So I don't know. If the belief is that genetics and like the functional organical organ like structures relate to like complexity of the organism, then like lettuce is like an incredibly complex organism. And it might genuinely be, because it's orchestrating relationships like in the soil between like bacteria species. It might genuinely have more complicated relationships to reality than humanity does.
Yeah, we're just meat puppets for bacteria.
Yeah, actually we are. It's like unironically true. But what they've got here, this is where we get into the simulation. God, I love simulation. We can build so many assumptions off of models and weights as long as we calculate it properly.
Dude,
so if you take a look at figure
I love
14,
simulations too. Last week I simulated the entire Bulls franchise, but without Michael Jordan.
And how did that go for them?
Awful. But we did end up getting Jokic way down the line with some picks, so it turned out okay in like the modern era, but the Jordan years it was pretty bad.
Damn. But I mean, like, how do you even get Jokic? And how many realities do you get Jokic when
12.
you don't even have the legacy of LeBron?
Oh yeah, we sucked through the LeBron era as well.
Okay, that's unfortunate. But okay, take a look at figure 4B. So in their simulation, they confirmed their hypothesis that the onset of action potential corresponds to total dendritic lengths. So longer dendrites means faster action potential, which sort of makes sense, I guess. Like if you've got if like a neuron is depolarizing and that takes 1 second, and you've got a longer neuron, there's more neuron being covered in that 1 second. It sort of makes sense. But take a look at that p-value. How many zeros are there on that p-value?
5.
Yeah, so like this is a simulation, and it's like
it's not very fucking reliable.
No, I mean, yeah, pretty much. It's saying like, well, you're only gonna get this distribution of data in 0.00001% of cases.
Take this with a huge grain of salt.
So like, I actually don't understand why they reported p-value if they're not observing reality. But whatever. That's fine. That's like, fuck scientists.
No, running real experiments is actually overrated, and we should just do it all in a simulation.
Yeah, it is. So they did base this off of something. Like what they did is they analyzed the structure of how many neurons did they grab? I thought I wrote it down here. I guess I didn't write it down. Oh yeah, I see. 3-dimensional dendritic reconstruction of 72 human pyramidal neurons.
And what's a
Which is like,
pyramidal
okay,
neuron?
It's the one that it's what we're talking about. It's like 80% of the cortex.
Okay.
It's the ones that are integrating like lower signals into
I see.
the higher brain area, pretty much.
Yeah. Drawing
So
information
essentially,
from lower parts of the brain. I hear, yeah.
yeah. So this has nothing to do with like the threshold for action potential like possibility. It's got nothing to do with the transfer of information between neurons. It is exclusively associating IQ to the ability of neurons to transfer information within itself. So essentially, if you've got a wire with high resistance, it's going to conduct electricity worse. If you've got a neuron with worse, what did they say? Worse action potential speed, you're going to have lower IQ. That's what they believe. That's what they're testing.
And the one thing that doesn't make sense on like a common sense basis is that the longer, more complex dendrites would make a faster action potential. I mean, common sense wise, you would think shorter would cause it to reach the end of the dendrite quicker.
But see, but that's where you get into like isoforms of the voltage gated channels. Like if you've got a particular isoform or a particular mutation, your neurons might be more prone to being depolarized by other cells. Your neurons might be more able to move electricity down them if you've got more protein inside rather than like fats and lipid
And you have
rafts.
more sodium channels if it's a longer dendrite as well, so.
Correct. Yeah, so like I don't know, there's probably like a happy medium of like a happy optimization curve of like what
Yeah,
the
there's got to be
distribution of-
like a point where you stop getting returns on your investment and getting so long and complex.
Right, but they're not doing that. They're looking at the morphology.
They're looking at
Of
the
these
optimal ones.
Yeah, sort of. So they're not looking at the composition of the actual neurons itself, just the morphology.
Okay.
And so their belief is that if we look at figure C, all of these neurons will sort of, they have a ceiling essentially for the information that they're able to send through it. Like they're only going to be able to recover their information past or before a certain threshold, and that's that cutoff frequency there.
I see this.
And this associates with longer neurons. And these longer neurons, yada, 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 thresholds, depolarization, integrating with other neurons, not considered in this paper. Okay. So let's go to the next section.
I'm trying to understand
This is-
figure E. It's kind of confusing.
Figure E?
It's the long dendrite versus the short dendrite.
Yeah, I don't know.
Time in milliseconds, instantaneous firing rate in hertz.
I don't know. I feel like I didn't really like care much about it.
Okay.
So is the blue one the more complicated neuron?
It's the shorter neuron. That's all I know about it. It's not
It's the
telling
shorter
me-
neuron.
It's
You're
not telling me
right.
anything about complexity. It's just telling me the length.
Okay, so the blue one is the lower length.
Yeah.
Okay, so the blue one has lower instantaneous firing rates than the red one
Roger.
with greater peaks and troughs. I don't know. Hold on. Response. So the figure says responses to the same input in 2 example neurons from panels B and C. From what? Oh, B and C. Instantaneous firing frequency of the model neuron with large total dendrite length follows the input with higher temporal precision than the model neuron with smaller.
Okay, so its peaks and valleys are more aligned and more similar in frequency than the one that's shorter.
Yeah, so if you look at like the top right of figure E, they've got like a little squiggle.
Yeah.
And they're saying, okay, these longer length neurons can associate the squiggle better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine, whatever. Like whatever. Who fucking cares about these little squiggles?
I don't
These
think
little
that tells
funny
me
little snakes.
anything I care about.
Exactly. That's why I skipped reading like that figure. as
Well, I
well.
had to like deduce what it was saying before I could figure out if it was good information or not.
No, 100%. Yeah, like you can't understand if something is valuable if you don't understand it.
All right, so,
So-
but you were talking about figure D.
No, we want to move on.
Oh, we're moving on.
I don't give a fuck about figure D. This
Fuck
is
that
just
D.
them trying to figure out. This is them trying to figure out whether or not their measures are like valid or not. And I think they're using the wrong statistical test, but like I also don't know enough to like speak confidently on that. So I'd
I'm-
rather move on to IQ and action potential.
Listen, I've
is
taken
the
some
meat.
statistics classes, but I am far from an expert in statistics.
Same. And we should just treat statistics like magic. It is just like deep incantations. It is genuinely just deep incantations. Like it's not worth thinking about outside of just magic. Okay.
Brilliant. So are we moving
Neat.
on to higher IQ scores associated with faster action potentials?
Correct.
Okay.
So this was the confusing part for me, and I had to consult the machine a little bit for what went on here. So I had
my
the machine
God,
grind up.
You lazy bastard.
Show me a picture of Itachi Uchiha without a shirt. Nice. Computer, show me a picture of
Girthy
neuron.
neuron.
Oh, hold on. I had this machine grind up all of the information in the article that I read, as well as the materials and methods, as well as the supplemental materials and methods, because I'm not in the field. To people who are in the field, they would probably understand why this experimental makeup makes sense. To midwits who care about IQ, they would ignore what all of this means and go, oh yeah, okay, IQ and faster action potential, yeah, I love simulations. So, what did they actually do to the neurons? What they essentially did is from the like neuron slices they grabbed from these people, with like a micro adjuster, they attached a little glass pipette to the end of one of these neurons. Following?
Hell yeah.
And then what they did is they sent a bunch of electrons towards the neuron
Yeah.
at a consistent rate. Well, they did like a couple of different steps.
This is my
Now, what
Frankenstein putting electricity into brain parts type of science that I really enjoy.
Yes, it is. So there's the input going into these neurons, it's bypassing the normal physiological thresholds there would be. The number of neurons connecting to it, the distance of the synapse, the composition, the chemical composition of the synapse, the chemical composition of the postsynaptic cleft, the chemical like isoforms of the postsynaptic or the postsynaptic membrane, the like cleanup of the postsynaptic environment. All that shit is getting bypassed because they're just shooting electrons at the membrane of these neurons. Now, what does that do? It essentially the neurons just fire. They just go.
Yeah, baby.
That's what they were investigating. That's what they were investigating.
It's like hooking a car
So-
battery up to your nipples.
Yes, and then like you sort of like jolt and shock
Woo!
as like neurons go through. Yes, correct. And
You
so
ain't
their
lived till you done
theory,
that.
yeah, their theory is that low IQ people have a lower ceiling for this sort of like snapping of the neuron. And it seems relatively true, is what they found.
Run that by
And
me
the
one more
operative
time.
term here, the operative term here is like depolarization fatigue. So they believe their results indicate that people with the pyramidal temporal neurons from low IQ people have a higher ceiling and a lower, or I guess a greater exhaustive capacity with repeated stimulation.
Interesting. So they're less likely to burn out neurons, but they have lower action potential.
So their neurons burn out faster, and that burnout means that they're able to, and this is what the authors conclude, that they can pick up like information from other neurons with less accuracy.
Mm.
Lower fidelity would probably be a better like way to describe it. Like accuracy is probably not right. Precision is also not right. Fidelity is probably correct. Like if you've got a neuron attached to the neurons that they're investigating, and you've got a low IQ neuron something about the chemical composition of the neuron membrane, the proteins, something like that is, or like, I guess the transcriptic capacity of the neuron too, potentially, is making it such that if the first neuron is firing at, I don't know, like whatever, 50 hertz, the second neuron is going to be firing at 50 hertz, but it's going to be exhausted over time such that it starts skipping some of these beats.
We don't want that.
I would probably analogize it to like dance floor. Like the more drinks you have, the probably worse you're going to be able to stay in beat with the song. But that doesn't mean that the song beat changes. It's just your interpretation of the song beat. So you're going to start skipping beats.
Yeah. And then you're going to look goofy because your dance moves are not going to be in rhythm with the actual song.
Yes, exactly. And so the authors are saying, well, this means that they're encoding information with lower fidelity. You're looking like a fool on the dance floor. But like, that's kind of the point of being on the dance floor.
You're a useless neuron. You're never going to take home any ladies tonight because you can't dance to the beat. So we're just going to fire enough electricity into you that we cook you completely.
No, but it's like, it's about the confidence, right? On the dance floor. I don't know how that translates to neurons. So they grabbed whole cell recordings from acute slices of the temporal cortex from 31 patients, and they grabbed about 129 neurons. They split these neurons by their patient origin by high and low IQ with a threshold of 100. So if you've got an IQ above 100, they said, okay, your neurons are going to be put into the high IQ bucket.
Wow, we're just drawing a line, putting people in different categories based on their brain firing speed already.
No. It's not based on their brain firing speed yet. This was based on their test, their IQ test. What they then observed was the brain firing speed.
Well, yeah, but they're correlated.
That's what they're saying. Correct. That's what their observations are leading them to believe. So there was a confusing line in here that really sort of tripped me up. They said, to test whether action potential rise speed differed between IQ groups, we split all action potential rise speed data into two groups based on IQ score, above and below 100. Although the action potential rise speed of the first action potential was not different between high and low groups, the action potential slowed down stronger in individuals with lower IQ scores compared to action potential of individuals with high IQ scores.
What's tripping you up there?
Well, this first part, like, the first action potential was not different between the two groups.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and this is why I had to consult the machine about like what they actually did with the neurons, is they then compared the sort of like the distance between action potentials based on that first one, and found that in low IQ people, the distance between action potentials became greater and greater. Now it did for both high IQ and low IQ people.
Mm-hmm.
It just subsided slightly, or I guess significantly less with their statistical analysis in high IQ people. So it decreased. Here, let's take a look at the last paragraph of this, or the last sentence of this paragraph. Relative to the first action potential, the rise speed of action potential, the rate of depolarization, I think would be a better way to say this. I don't know why the fuck they said rise speed. Maybe because they're foreigners. At 20 to 40 hertz, and this is not something they manipulated, which is also something they confused me. So they essentially they categorized the neurons by their firing frequency. And they still found this sort of decrease across each of them, which confused me, but it made sense after I understood they applied a consistent current to the neuron, and then based on each neuron's frequency, tracked it over time. So continuing, it showed a significant slowing of in subjects with lower IQ scores, and decreased to 74% of the initial action potential rise speed, depolarization rate. In contrast, In neurons from individuals with higher IQ scores, action potential depolarization rates remained on average at 84%. So they were able to maintain about 84% of their integration of they got exhausted less, essentially.
Yeah, they were able to endure more
Torture, pretty much.
transfers of information before they gave out.
Yes, that's nothing to say about the quality of the information and all these other like various factors that are
When I
important
say
for neurons.
information, I just mean an electrical signal.
Yes, pretty much. Like what I would say is it's just torture. Like they literally just tortured the neurons, and the neurons from high IQ individuals got exhausted less.
Yeah,
than the
they
individual.
cooked them. They said, how much
Oh.
electricity can I pour through this poor little neuron before it gives out? And the ones from the higher IQ people could endure a little bit longer than the ones from the slow people. I mean,
Yes.
the lower IQ people.
So that's the paper, in all honesty. Like, they've got a bunch of fancy figures down here. In all honesty, it just kind of feels like bullshit. All of this sort of correlates about the same as the neuron length.
So what you want is long, complex, thick dendrites, and you'll be able to think better and have a better correlation with IQ scores.
You'll be able to hold on. Yes, you want more complex, longer neurons that are exhausted less easily so that you can recall fancy vocabulary faster, rotate apples on 4 degrees and make it rainbow colored, as well as find the distribution of this, I don't know, the circumference of the Bermuda Triangle or whatever.
And how is that going to make you happy?
And have faster reaction speed. I think faster reaction speed would make me happier.
Okay.
Because I get to live longer. That's what life is all about. Life is happiness, right? It's not suffering.
What do you think IQ scores correlate to with happiness? Do you think that the low IQ scores are happier or the high IQ scores?
Oh, it's probably like the high IQ scores are like less happy.
Yeah, I agree. Ignorance is bliss,
And-
man.
Yeah, like, we had in the pond, like, do you remember we had like that massive, I don't know what it was. It was like a 20 by 20 grid of like political statements
Yeah,
overlaid on top of the
yeah.
political compass. Yeah, I refused to take that because ignorance is bliss was like the furthest authoritarian left like principle. Which I don't think is accurate too. Like, the political compass is obviously bullshit, but I didn't want to take it for that reason. I was a little afraid of what I would be saying to other people.
I would never let somebody box me in like that and categorize me. Fuck that. I don't want to end up on any more government list than I'm already on, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, I think also like the sort of like cool thing about this paper is that the associations and the p-values that they're finding here, like, there's a lot more room for interpretation of what's going on between IQ and the physiochemistry of neurons. Like, in my personal opinion, I think that the postsynaptic neuron is probably a great place to look for an association between IQ and physiology, because the postsynaptic neuron is essentially this massive soup of proteins, of structural proteins, phosphorylating proteins, and then only a minor portion of these proteins are actually crossing the plasma membrane and grabbing the neurotransmitters.
Correct. So you're saying that
Yep.
there's something in the soup that is also important at the speed at which these neurotransmitters are able to cross that gap.
Speed and threshold for what's going on there. Like, people with Alzheimer's tend to have more, like, a thicker sort of like postsynaptic protein aggregate than people without Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Actually, it might be the opposite. I might be speaking out of my ass, but I know there is an association between Alzheimer's
Out of your
and
cloaca.
correct, my cloaca.
Let's just be anatomically correct here.
I need to have like a button that like transfers to my my twerking
Your
emoji
cloaca?
actually. Yeah, so I can show my cloaca.
We need a
I'm a
cloaca
bust
button.
down. But
Bust down,
yeah, a
Tatiana.
cloaca button. Bust down Cloakiana. That's me. Cloakiana.
That's good. I like that one.
So the authors of the study, they believe, you know, something about the neurons, it's the length that they're trying to suggest is responsible for encoding, which is an incredibly loaded term. But really what the authors find is that when you torture neurons, neurons from high IQ individuals recover slightly better from torture than low IQ individuals. Like all the midwits will be like, oh, you know, like more complicated, more longer complicated neurons. And that's like, that's sort of, yeah. That's like, that is something you can take away from it, but like you're lying by omission if you don't also give the other answer.
Yeah, and this is only one part of everything that goes into cognition and memory and intelligence. It's just one slice of the pie, and there are other things that need to be looked at in order to make any
Correct.
judgments.
Correct. I think one like little interesting thing about this paper is that they deliberately collected neurons from an area of the temporal lobe that's a little bit out of the way of the temporal gyrus, the sort of like fold in the glove shape of the temporal cortex, because that is associated with language processing. And I wonder if you grab neurons from that area, does that correlate to the sociological construct of IQ better?
Hmm.
It might be. Because, like, everything is, like, constituted by language in all reality.
Yeah, how well you can communicate your ideas. You can know all the shit in the fucking universe, but if you can't communicate it to other people, how are we going to know you're smart?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, if you can't communicate it and then also, like, communicate it properly. And that's why people tune in to Beak to Beak,
So that
where
we
we
can
get the hard
communicate
fact.
properly?
With Techno Capital, correct.
Yeah, and science.
To talk about the unspeakable horrors that researchers are actually doing and don't want to. They want to be nice about what they're actually doing.
Yeah, all
Well, we
researchers
didn't.
are well-intentioned and nice, that's a fact.
It is interesting how all the villains in like any researcher in like Disney or Pixar movies is evil. It is interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the 90s, it was always the businessmen and the big bad corpos that were coming to get you, and that turned out to be true. So we should just probably trust Disney on this one.
Well, I mean, I think like
We might be
scientists
evil. We might need to be locked up for our scientific witchcraft.
but like maybe we should be locked up for not questioning where our money comes from and just being happy that we're getting money.
We're getting money?
Oh, you don't pay me. I don't pay you. It's like, did you not read your contract under bird law?
Yeah, that's why I've been bringing you bird seed every week. I thought that's all that you were getting.
No, those are tributes, not pay.
Oh,
Completely different under bird law.
well, give the Air Nation my regards, I guess.
I think I will. Maybe we can organize a defense of the Fire Nation on
A potluck, a
humble
Water
abode.
Nation, Air Nation potluck. That would be so cute.
That would be cool. God, I love potlucks.
I'm not inviting Aquaman. It's fucking weird.
He would make, yeah. He's like the deep.
He just wants everybody to look at his abs.
He's got a complicated relationship with the cephalopods.
Thanks for joining us here on Beak to Beak. It's been a great episode. We learned a lot about neurons and their girthiness and how it equates to IQ. Dispel, did you have fun with this article?
I bought a new microphone.
Twin Peaks. You know it's time to get the lab coat on. Twin Peaks. Yeah. Cause we out here being hella wrong. Twin Peaks. And you know we're never stopping till the hammer drop.
Goodness, I need to get my cats out of my office. They're distracting the shit out of me. Hold on a second.
Scurry! Scram!
Scram,
Shoot.
motherfuckers.
I by the way, I 100% agree with you. Get rid of your cats. You don't really need them.
No, shut the fuck up. They're my everything.
They're actually just like parasites.
In the apocalypse,
literally
if there was a child running and my cat running, I would go for my cat.
They would eat the child, and you would probably eat the child with your cat.
Absolutely, that is a correct statement.
Like cats are literally like the cocaine addicts of hunting.
Yeah, can you imagine having a cat on your side in the apocalypse? It'd be incredible. They can bring you small rodents and birds to eat.
I cannot imagine it. No,
No,
I've never had a positive.
I'd rather have a dog. They're way more loyal. Cat's just gonna run off on you.
I agree. Yeah, dogs. I'm cool. I get it.
All
Like
right.
when I bite a dog's tail, it's deserved.
When you what?